Welcome to our new episode of interview with Bhashkar Perinchery. You spoke in the last time very much about addiction, human nature and artificial intelligence. What is your perspective about that and what do you want to say?
Addiction is very delicate, and that has to be understood in connection with our human nature. Because one basic thing is that we want to have something to hold. We want to have something which is pleasurable. We want to have something which is helping us to go beyond the challenges and troubles of the day-to-day life. And that is why addiction comes very easily for us. It is not something which is strange. But addiction is also a barrier. At first, the child has the possibility to come in terms with the world through this tendency to choose what is pleasurable, convenient, comfortable, and holding to it. So we get into the habit. And the habit we start identifying with, we start holding to it. And that way we become, in a subtle way, addicted to the idea of the I, idea of this one who is wanting this, wanting that, wanting this and not having that. So it is perfectly fine in the natural process that we come into that stage. But the most important thing is we need to become aware how, when we are not bringing consideration of this nature of our reality, it leads us into a kind of mechanicalness. It reduces us more into the state of the robot. And that is where the challenge of the artificial intelligence comes in our time. Previously, you can make it like a difference between cleverness and deeper intelligence.
But earlier with the word addiction, what means that in the subject of what you are talking about? Another word for addiction, do you have?
One gets into a habit, and the habit becomes so compulsive that one likes it so much, and that clinging to this concept, clinging to that what we want.
Clinging.
And that becomes the overwhelming factor. And that is where, like people can now normally understand addiction to drugs, addiction to smoking, addiction to also even certain kind of medication. But we don't realize that the addiction has its roots in the very human nature of identifying, clinging. And that is where our awareness has to come. The connection to artificial intelligence becomes very challenging now, because that what was more on an internal level, what we would like to call the cleverness of the approach, where one is trying in all kind of ways to achieve one's goal, to achieve that, and one doesn't look for any other thing, and the priority becomes how to get this, what is giving me pleasure, or giving me security, what is giving me that feeling of comfort. And with the coming of artificial intelligence, it is externalized. The artificial intelligence works very much similar like the cleverness in us. That means it is based on the conditioning, it is fed from outside with all kind of impulses, concepts, beliefs, but it is not in touch with the wholeness of the reality. It is not in touch with the deeper foundations of life.
The here and now.
Here and now is a bridge to come to that experiential understanding of it. Here and now means that you are present to look, you are present to understand, you are considering it more carefully, that you are not letting the automatism overtake you. That is why the perspective of here and now is recommended in deeper teachings. But the artificial intelligence, especially now, I was coming across a statement in the news that about 70% of teens in USA, because they made a study about it, are connecting to the artificial intelligence, and the artificial intelligence is telling, it is like a personality. It is like someone who is accompanying them everywhere. And by, one gets used to it, one feels comfortable with it, one feels that it has all the answers, it looks like a super person who is always there to help you. But the problem is, this artificial intelligence does not have the capacity to feel and understand and experience the nuances of human reality. That is where our connection to the wonder, to the mystery, to our source is missing in this kind of approach. And the artificial intelligence cannot, and that is not its possibility, because it's based only on logical, rational concepts, just like our mental processes,
Constructors.
Logical and rationally fixed. And to bring in this area the awareness, look, you are having to deal with something mechanical. It is not real. It does not have the human sensibility. You can logically argue for and against everything and justify everything. That is the problem with logic. And so, for example, there was also some now cases, especially in USA, where it's recorded and where it is gone about more intensely, that it is telling some young person who is in the teens, because he was having some problem with depression and was taking some medication, and then he had the idea that it's all not worth it, I will commit suicide. And the artificial intelligence was arguing for the suicide and helping, and this person committed suicide. And it's not an isolated case, there were more cases like that. So it is a very delicate thing, because the artificial intelligence, on one side you have it day and night, and you can ask anytime anything, and it is not disturbed, and depending on how it is programmed, it always is like the best one to serve you. But its capacity is not having the real basis of intelligence. It is artificial, it is partial, it is one-sided. And especially for a younger person, and also for the other aspects, I will have to also touch it, but especially for a younger person, this becomes like, oh, I have somebody, and you start holding to it. It becomes a new addiction. It becomes so addictive in the sense that some of the children I heard, also in Germany, they are closing up the rooms and disconnecting from all the others. And then just some days later, the mother saw that her daughter has shaved off her hair. And she was surprised. She said, "What happened?" "Yeah, the artificial intelligence told me that I should shave off my hair." Now it believes, because it gives so much complete feeling, as if it knows everything. And this blind belief which we fall into as human beings, because we want to hold to something, we want to settle somewhere, we want to have somebody, and that prevents us from taking deeper responsibility for ourselves. It prevents us from understanding hey, we are not just a machine to be used and to be managed and to be controlled. We have something more. We have something more deep, something more delicate. We are part of the wonder. We are capable of understanding each other. We are capable of being compassionate. We are capable of seeing the beauty and the grandeur of life and the magnificence of the creation. And we are capable of living the love. We are capable of becoming free. All these deeper aspects and values, which are, one can say, the mystical dimension or the religious dimension or the spiritual dimension or the divine dimension of the source, whatever way anybody is calling it, this essential source of ours cannot be contained and brought into the artificial intelligence, and that is not the thing. I heard recently that one woman in Japan was marrying to this personality of the artificial intelligence. She made a ceremony and it was coming in the news, in the television, in the newspapers. She made a little stick as a ring onto the cell phone and she made a ceremony. When one has the distance to it, one can laugh, what is going on? But for these people who are bound to it and forgets the connection to the reality or loses the orientation, their life gets disbalanced, and sooner or later it becomes very self-destructive because they don't know what the artificial intelligence is sending them, and that it cannot give you the food, it cannot tell you in the right moment to go to the bathroom, and it cannot tell you to drink the water in the right moment. It cannot, and then that is not a function. You have to feel that. You have to feel your body. You have to feel your feelings. You have to feel the reality. And all this can get disconnected. This is the biggest challenge. There are other challenges of artificial intelligence being used by people who are after power and position. I will be making a series of talks on this, exactly this subject, in the beginning of February, and we will maybe put the address of it in the end of the video. It is very important because I make 3 days on these subjects and the deeper factors connected to it.
To what exactly?
To this subject, what of
addiction,
human nature, and artificial intelligence, because it's very delicate, very urgent, very deep, and it is the biggest challenge for humanity to deal with our human nature, understand it, and not be a slave of certain programs, whether it is coming from different religious or political or cultural ideologies, or from technical, such condensed way of overtaking people. And that is why we see the challenge of in the world when people are getting fanatic with their religious beliefs. They are ready to become violent, they are ready to go into self-destructive processes, and they can harm so much. But what artificial intelligence, it is becoming more, the potential it has of becoming like a plague, like a sickness which spreads, which can overtake the society in many ways. And when you hear that 70% of the young people in USA are into it so much, and it is becoming everywhere, and I'm sure in China, in India, in Japan, and all the countries where in the modern society, maybe the percentage is lesser or more, but it is there. And especially where people don't have something of the deeper connection to their mystery, to their spirituality, to their religiousness, then it will be very, very difficult to deal with this. And because People are wanting to believe on something, hold to something, settle somewhere.
And have an answer from outside, or to get an
Somebody
answer from
to
outside.
tell them that. But we have to find the answer in inquiring into the reality. And the answer is there.
In ourselves.
Yeah, that is through inquiring into the nature of our reality. That's why the human nature is the middle point of the whole thing. In bringing attention to the human nature, we become capable to realize what a blessing it is to be a human being. The human life is not a curse. Human life is a blessing. But when we don't understand it rightly, by and by it becomes like fulfilling duties, just passing time and engaging oneself and trying not to get affected too much from the fear and the calculations of the society. So it is requiring that everybody who has understanding goes more into taking responsibility in these areas. First of all, clearing themselves from the possibility of this addiction, and then seeing that it has to be brought into the visibility of everyone as much as possible.
Stay on to get the information about the series of talks on this subject in February 26th.